is, where is Pete from? So, little side story here. My friend is a career profiler, and I just think that's such a cool name for a job. She helps people find a suitable job for themselves. And I was thinking, you know what? Every pitch has a profile. Every pitch has a job, and it's usually more than one job or more than one function. And so that's where I came up with this idea of a pitch profiler, and I thought, well, what better name than Pete? So that is where Pete is from. That's the first question. Now, the next thing, why Pete? Now, as I mentioned before, I feel like Pete, this resource that I'm going to share with you, can help students with chord fluency. Now, what does that mean? I think that means that when they want to play with a pop song and they see a chord symbol up at the top, they can grab onto it really quickly. And then I also feel like that means that they can grab chords and move between them with ease. I call that sliding between chords. And I think that's an important thing for students to do if they want to play those cool pop pieces. But then it also can be helpful for students who want to harmonize a tune but are really tired of just those old chords, the 1, 4, and 5. This is where Pete, the pitch profiler, can really come in handy. All right, so then the next question is, how do you prepare for Pete? Because if you're going to play this game, and it's really just a worksheet, but you can also make it into a game, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. You can make it, how you're going to play it is, you need to prepare first. You need to prepare by, first of all, being at the keyboard. There is nothing like learning theory at the piano. And I don't even call it theory. It's more of just, you know, you got to play what you know, and then writing it down just reinforces already what your fingers know. So one of the fastest ways you can get your students to be understanding chords is to have them play their major and minor triads. And I'm not going to go into all the steps that I use with my students, but I love 5-finger patterns. And once they know a major 5-finger pattern, it's pretty easy for them to find a major triad. And then, okay, if they know a major triad, then they're only one half step away from a minor triad. So I really like having students relate the unknown to the known. Always think about what they know and then move it a step away and help them remember that way. So then, okay, once they are well versed with what a major chord is versus a minor and how you can turn a minor chord, major chord very easily into a minor chord, then it's fun to have them play with a groove. And if you've hung around with me and Bradley Sowash, you know that we like to groove our theory. And this is an exercise that I made in iReal Pro. This is on my iPad Pro, and I've got it hooked up to my Clavinova, so I've got really nice speakers. So I'm just going to push the play button here, and then I'm going to play a C major triad. You can have them spell it out loud. I'm going around the circle of keys. Now G, flat D. Now D, F sharp A, D, F, A, and back to A. When you put it to a groove like this, it's going to build that fluency right away. They got to be thinking fast, got to be on their toes, and they're also reading chord symbols. Let me move this so you can see the screen. That's what it looks like right there. So all the chord symbols for all those major chords are right there, and I have arranged them in the order of the circle of keys. Now, you don't have to do that. You could just do one white key to the next white key. You could do whatever you wanted to. iReal Pro is very easy to turn into other lead sheets. You can generate it very easily. That is not what this is about today, so I won't go into that. But first of all, you want students to play their chords and really get familiar with the chords and how to play them, how to find them on the keys. First. Then you want to reinforce that knowledge with some fun off-bench things. And I could go on and on about what apps that I like to use for that. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to pick out two just little fun little off-bench things. First of all, if you're not familiar with Bradley Sowash's chord stacker, I'm a big fan of that. He makes these himself, and this is a piece of wood that has little ledges in it, and then he makes all of these little Scrabble pieces, really is what they look like. So the chord symbol's down at the bottom, and you could have your students just arrange all the chords within a major key, like the key of C. And then what I would want them to do is think about, okay, what's the root? How does C function as the root of a chord? How does C function as the third of the chord? And how does C function as a fifth of a chord? And there's your answers right there. It's the root of the C chord, third of the A minor, and fifth of the F chord. And knowing that information right there makes it so much easier than to slide between those chords. So now I'm going to go to A minor. It was really easy for me to slide between all three of those. And it opens up the student's eyes. Whoa, you're only one note away from a new chord. So I really like that. And he's got a lot of other ideas for using that chord stacker beyond what I just showed you right there. And then a fun little thing, I just had this at my blog. I love plastic eggs, Easter eggs, because you can do all kinds of things with them, and you can fill them with things. This one doesn't even have anything filled in right now. But I love putting macaroni in to make shakers. I've got one with macaroni and with jelly beans. And this week, everyone was listening to the difference between what is a jelly bean sound versus a macaroni sound. I'll show it to you in just a minute. It's kind of cool. See if you can guess. All right, so what I did here on this egg is I've got all different pitch names, and then I am trying to match them up with different chords. So if I pick the pitch of E, what chord has E in it? Oh, look. A, C, E. Now, I didn't even write the chord symbols in there, but you could do that as well. And if you can't get your egg turning very well, just go grab some household oil, olive oil, Vaseline, anything that you might have in the house, and then it turns really easily. So those are a couple of different ways where you can prepare for Pete, for playing for Pete. Let me just give you a little test here. I've got some jelly beans here in one egg, and I have some macaroni in the other egg. This is really a fun little listening skill. So you have to really be thinking, and some students couldn't tell right away, but others immediately knew the sound of jelly beans versus macaroni. So take a look at that blog post that I just wrote about how to use eggs, plastic eggs, to enhance your students' listening skills, and a couple other different skills. All right, I digress. Now we are on to where to play Pete. How are you going to play this game called Pete the Pitch Profiler? Well, let me show you. First of all, probably the one that you're going to want to use is you're going to print it off on a piece of paper. But we want to save paper, we want to save ink, so that's when I'm a big fan of these clear pockets. And I get those at Amazon. I have a link if you order the Pitch Profiler package at my blog. I have a link to these as well. I use them all the time, and you just will never want to run out of these because they're so useful. And the other place that you could play them, if you really are adverse to printing out anything, I'm a big fan of an app called Notability. And Notability, you can take, let's see, I can get my, there we go. You can get the, you can download or import any PDF, and then students can write on it. So let me get my little pencil right here. Sorry, the lighting is not all that great sometimes with the iPads. But now the point of Pete, and this is now I'm going to show you how to play Pete, is what you want to do is you want to write a letter. Sorry, I got to get my, there we go. You write a letter of a certain kind in the magnifying glass right there. So I don't know if you can see that or not. So I'm going to go back to my other one. But like I said, if you really don't want to print off any paper, I highly recommend Notability. I talk about it at my blog as well. You can learn more about that. All right, so now I'm on to how to play Pete. All right, here we go. Now, the very first thing to do, just to make things just a little bit more random and a little bit more exciting, is I like to, I'm going to unhook this now, find my Decide Now app and have students spin. And I have all the letters of the circle of keys on here, but I deactivated all the sharps and flats for right now, just to kind of make it easy. Did you know that you can deactivate options in the Decide Now app? I think that's a really brilliant addition. So I just landed on F. Probably can't see that because I know there's a glare. So let me show you what that means when you're going to play Pete the Pitch Profiler. Now you could have your students do this in a group lesson. You could have them do it off the bench while you're teaching another student. you could have one student be doing this. So I just put an F in all the magnifying glasses. Oh my goodness, I grabbed the wrong one. I'll tell you about that one in just a minute. So I'm going to put an F in the magnifying glass right there, and another F in that magnifying glass, and then another F right there. So I've got the root, the third, and the fifth. Now they have to be thinking, oh, what chord is F the root of? And that would be the F chord. F-A-C, the F major chord. What is it the third of? And then they want to be thinking, oh, okay. And I would really encourage them to do this at the piano at first, just to get their bearings and to review these things. I'm always thinking about the piano in my head when I do this as well. And then, so that would be the D minor chord. And then we have one more. What is it the fifth of? That would be, this would probably be the hardest one, the B flat. And remember, they're supposed to be thinking major chord. So that would be their guide. It could obviously be the fifth of a diminished triad, but that's your goal, is to have them think of the 3 major chords and then the 3 minor chords. And then if you want to, you could always have them write the chord symbol down below. So speaking of chord symbols, I also have another variation of Pete, the pitch profiler, where it includes 7th chords. So, I've got an F down in the root here. So what, and then what you have to ask your students to do is determine the chord quality up here. So I want this to be a major 7, an F major 7. So that's an F capital M7. So that would be F, A, C, and then, what's a half step below the root? That is E. And if they want to test it out, there's your F major 7. And then there's 3 other 7 chords that F can function in with the, as a third, as a fifth, and then as a 7th. So you could have them fill those out. And I also have one other version, and those are for diehard fans of Bradley Sowash, where he changes 7th chords into either root or bird chords. Now, I'm not going to go into detail here, but basically what that means is he wants everyone to know their 7th chords in either a root position or what he calls a bird position, which is actually in 2nd inversion, where the 5th is on the bottom. And again, not going to go into details about why he likes that, but it really does help you slide between chords if you know those. So this is just a variation for you and your students if you are following Bradley's guidelines for a root versus bird. So I think I answered all my questions on where to play Pete. If you do have any questions, let me know. And then, where do you find Pete? Okay, that is the last question. Well, that is at 88pianokeys.me, which is my blog. And this is right now on sale for $3.88. It's less than most of your cups of coffee if you're going to Starbucks or any of your gourmet coffee shops. And I think it's a nice way to be thinking about chords. You're kind of turning them on your heads, turning them on their heads so that they have to think through things just a little bit differently. So that is what Pete, the pitch profiler, is all about.